So I'm going to share with you who made it to the National Collegiate Women's Gymnastics Championships, the semifinals. There are two semifinals. There's 4 teams in each semifinal, as one competing in each event simultaneously at the same time. In the top 2 events, there's 4 teams instead of like having 2. Just having the top from each one, events. They have the top 2 events, which I think, is fair, So they have it so it's a full region. So if there's 4 teams in each region, it's not just one against one. Because they could just have one against one in the regional final, and the winner moves to the semifinal. You know what I mean? Or they could just have and then the winners move to the semis. They could. Each region move to the championship, or regional final, or something, or semifinal, or whatever. But they don't, and they actually have the top 2 events. Plus more rounds make it more interesting. Which I don't mind. But anyways, so we had LSU and Michigan State, the top seeds in each. It could have been either Kentucky or Michigan State, and Michigan State beats Kentucky by 1/10 of a point. And then we had Utah and UCLA advance. Or was it their second round scores? Maybe that was their second round scores. But in their semifinal, it was LSU beat 188.05 and Michigan State 190 even. Utah got 188.825. UCLA 187.62. Denver actually had a bit of a lead had a little bit of a lead in that one. Holding on to at least the second spot, but then they fell. And Minnesota just couldn't keep up, And then we had Missouri and Oklahoma advance. Missouri did well to hold off Auburn and Arizona. At least Auburn was trying to hold on with Missouri, but Missouri had. And then on beam, Missouri had 8.95 score, and the scores are ranked out of 10, and they take the average of those scores. That was the average of the scores, the judges' scores. And there was a big mistake on beam for Missouri. Then they came back and they ended up doing really well, having some really good scores. They ended up being able to drop that score from that 8.95 score. And because there's 6 competitors, the lowest score of the 6 gets to be dropped. And then ends up. What drop means is that it ends up doesn't get counted. And then so that's how Missouri was able to just squeak by Auburn. And then we have an all SEC final. In this semifinal, we have Missouri, Oklahoma, Alabama, and Florida. In all SEC semifinal, the semifinal on the right side of the bracket is going to be the 7 seed and the 2 seed. Oklahoma looks really solid. Just dropping casual, getting 10s, back-to-back 10s out of it, getting 10s over. Getting really good scores, all-rounders. like 9 9s as their lowest scores. On some events, like they dropped like on these events they drop in like 9 9s as their lowest scores. It's just wild to me that you drop a 9 9 as your lowest score. Then Alabama advances as a host. The only one the top right, that's the Washington regional. So because Washington advance, the Pennsylvania regional, LSU Michigan State advance out of the Pennsylvania regional, Utah UCLA advance out of the Utah regional, and then the Washington regional is Missouri and Oklahoma, and then is Alabama and Florida out of the Alabama regional. So an all SEC final: Missouri, Oklahoma, Alabama, Florida, and then LSU, Michigan State, Utah, UCLA. So there are five of the 8 teams are SEC teams, and then Michigan State and UCLA are Big Ten teams. Although Michigan State is, although UCLA is a new team in the Big Ten this season, they are new to the Big Ten this season with all this conference realignment stuff. And then but they were a former Pac-12 school. It's Utah's first season in the Big 12. They were a former Pac-12 school. And then Oklahoma moved to the SEC. That's their first year in the SEC. And then California, it was their first year in the ACC, and Arizona's first year in the Big 12. So you had a bunch of new teams advance. So so yeah. So that's what happened here. In the National Collegiate Women's Gymnastics Championships here. As the semifinals are now, it could be interesting who makes it to the final. The national championship. The semifinals are going to be ESPN2. One's at 4:30 Eastern on ESPN2, and one's at 9 Eastern ESPN2. On one, and it's kind of a surprise who's going to make it. I mean, I could see LSU, but you could see either Utah or UCLA. Either or make it. I could see either or make it. I wouldn't be surprised if Florida and Oklahoma make it. Oklahoma looked really dominant in their meet, so I wouldn't be surprised if they made it to the national championship. I mean, you could see Florida make it. Like Missouri. I mean, Alabama. I mean, Oklahoma is the favorite, but who's going to get a second? I mean, it's all SEC teams. Like, they've all competed against pretty much. I don't know. Like, they've all competed against every team. They compete against each other. In the regular season. I'm not for sure. I know they have like the meets with the other teams. Try to do non-conference. Like they play matchup of 4 teams. Or they might have dual meet, like single meets. They might match up against like 2 teams, 3 teams, like maybe 4 teams, all the same one. In like conference or like non-conference or same non-conference. And just like mixed team meets. Maybe 2 SEC teams, like an ACC team and say a Big Ten team. There could be. So you never know. But MS, but they saw each other in the regular season or the SEC tournament. One way or the other, one of the two sessions. They did in the SECs. They did one way or the other. So I'm assuming that so that's going to be very interesting, and especially these teams like Oklahoma and Missouri already matched up, and you had Florida and Alabama already matched up. So, and then you had LSU already matched up with Michigan State, and Utah and UCLA already matched up, but they're not fighting for that second spot. They're only fighting for top two spot. So it's kind of interesting, when it's like hardcore, you're fighting for that last spot. This time you're really fighting actually for that second spot, like really hardcore. You know what I mean? So we'll see.